Twitter is aflame with claims that the Gates Foundation, that the World Health Organization, the NIH, and the Wuhan Institute of Virology have all been hacked, and their usernames and passwords have been leaked online, and people have been granted access. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Full stop. No. Unfortunately, it's not technically true. It kind of is. What we're actually seeing, according to numerous sources, is that there was previously hacked information that was dumped and being aggregated and then put online. But what we can confirm, according to multiple sources, is that experts were able to use this login information to actually access these websites. Does that mean that real information, emails, and otherwise are going to be released? Possibly, I'm not sure. But I can tell you one thing. The information is legit. The Washington Post has confirmed it. The logins work. Now, whether or not the information coming out is going to be clean, that's going to take a whole other, it's going to be a whole other issue. But we could get some big stuff. We could. And one of the things we've seen is that with this information being previously hacked, man, the security for these companies or for these organizations are just in the gutter. Apparently, some people's passwords were password or change me. Let's read the story from the Washington Post. They say nearly 25,000 email addresses and passwords allegedly from the NIH, the World Health Organization, Gates Foundation, and others are dumped online. Who posted them is unknown, but they immediately became fodder for right-wing activists attacking the organization. The Washington Post says, unknown activists have posted nearly 25,000 email addresses and passwords allegedly belonging to the National Institutes of Health, the WHO, the Gates Foundation. Okay, we are that already. Well, SITE, the Site Intelligence Group, was unable to verify whether the emails and passwords were authentic. The group said the information was released Sunday and Monday and almost immediately used to foment attempts at hacking and harassment by far-right extremists. Spare me your excuses, okay? I don't care about who's doing what. Tell me about the hack. An Australian cybersecurity expert, Robert Potter, said he was able to verify that the World Health Organization email addresses and passwords were real. Boom. The lists, whose origins are unclear, appear to have first been posted to 4chan, a message board notorious for its hateful and extreme political commentary, and later to Pastebin, a text storage site, to Twitter and to far-right extremist channels on Telegram, a messaging app. Neo-Nazis and white supremacists capitalized on the lists and published them aggressively across their venues, said Rita Katz, site's executive director. Using the data, far-right extremists were calling for a harassment campaign while sharing conspiracy theories about the coronavirus pandemic. The distribution of these alleged email credentials were just another part of a months-long initiative across the far right to weaponize the COVID-19 pandemic. I don't care at all. Whenever the media throws the Nazi thing out there, I just shut it off. I'm not interested. Tell me about the names. What did you find? What did you verify? I don't care if a bunch of, people dressed like clowns wrote the names down on a bunch of bowling pins and juggled them around. What's being done by these people is irrelevant to me. I would like to know if the information released and the information, the usernames and passwords are legit, and was this a hack? And it turns out, thanks for wasting our time, Washington Post, for the most part. They did confirm, at least from one expert, the names were real, that this is not a new or unique hack. It's actually old information they believe was bought or collected off of the dark web. Now, I'll show you this tweet. This is from Nicole Perlroth. She's a cybersecurity reporter for the New York Times, and she tweeted, I spent the vast majority of my day confirming the dumped usernames and passwords from WHO, Gates Foundation, and NIH are from old, dated breaches of other companies. Someone went through all of this trouble to pull their credentials off dumps from other hacks. The credentials spread from 4chan to Pastebin to Twitter to far-right channels on Telegram and were blasted to my colleagues and I at the New York Times and apparently other outlets. Harassment and going viral is the goal. Please let's not give this more attention than they're due. Many thanks to Steve D3. I believe that's, I know Steve. Yeah, Steve Reagan. Cool dude. Follow him if you're interested in cybersecurity. At Steve D3. And others for helping me confirm as much today. As for the PR folk who tried to spin this to get press for your clients today, maybe vet these yourselves first. I love it. Good job, Nicole. Steve's a good dude. If Steve says it, I trust him. It looks like people are aggregating this information from other breaches. Now, what's interesting about this is that this shows the Gates Foundation, NIH, WHO, etc. was not hacked, okay? Technically. Let me break this down for you. What this means is that other websites were hacked and people used their email addresses and passwords there. But because people often use the same credentials from various different sites, If someone signed up for, say, Facebook, and they say their email address was like john@thegatesfoundation.org, and their password was password, you could try that same combination on any other site, and it might work. This has been confirmed. So now the real question is, while this wasn't an initial hack, the people who are exploiting this information and breaking in, it's technically a breach. Will information come out of this? If these are authentic, then it stands to reason, yes. And this could be very, very huge. Or, as we've seen from some screenshots, they lead you to dead and unused user accounts that don't really have access to anything. Though some people are saying they've gotten access to the emails in their entirety. Because you got to understand, outside of what you could actually get from these websites, which is probably an employment portal or something pointless, you can actually get access to their communications. And that's when things get spicy. People have supposedly said, people have posted emails claiming that these are legit, here's what's happened. We don't know if that's true, but I can tell you that if they're verifying some of these usernames and passwords have worked, it stands to reason some of these communications could be legit. Now, they got to be verified. The challenge will be whether or not Gates Foundation, Wuhan Institute, etc., will actually admit to some of these things. We'll see. Let me read what they say. A little bit more from the story. They say the report by Site, based in Bethesda, so the largest group of alleged emails and passwords was from the NIH, with 9,938 found on lists posted online. The CDC had the second highest number. The World Bank had 5,000. The WHO addresses and passwords totaled 2,732. Smaller numbers of entries were listed for the Gates Foundation. We know who they are. Bill Gates. They also targeted was the Wuhan Institute of Virology, a Chinese research center in the city where the pandemic began. That's been accused of a role in triggering the outbreak. Now, here's what I can't confirm, and I want to just make sure. Look, a lot of people are sharing the screenshot claiming that there's an email showing somebody from Wuhan planted something contaminated so that it would infect this seafood market, or that wet market. I do not believe it makes sense because we have reports coming out from like Fox News that it didn't even originate in the food market. That was always being questioned. So for someone to come out and say like, boom, there's an email saying that's where it originated, it's like, but they don't even think that's where it came from. Let me tell you, man, Fox News reported that sources, U.S. intelligence believe it came from a lab that China screwed up, had a breach, and it broke out. If that's what the U.S. intelligence is saying, and it's being reported by CNN is reporting, U.S. intel is saying that Fox News had their sources confirm this, Washington Post is a Rutgers University professor saying it's possible, then it's probably not the food market. So if someone's going to come out with a leaked information, be like, it is. Okay, maybe you can argue it's a reverse conspiracy that the U.S. intelligence is trying to protect China. I'm sorry, man, I don't buy it. Let's check it out. This is great. They say this. Potter, chief executive of Australian company Internet 2.0, said he was able to gain access into the WHO computer systems using email addresses and passwords posted on the internet. The WHO has come under heavy criticism, including from Trump, who suspended funding to it, for its response to the coronavirus and has been accused of being too deferential to China. Their password security is appalling, Potter said of the World Health Organization. 48 people have password as their password. Others, he said, had used their own first names or, quote, change me. Oh, man. I love how bad cybersecurity is for all these companies. Mind-boggling. Potter said the alleged email addresses and passwords may have been purchased from vendors on the dark web. The dark web, for those who don't know, it's just non-indexed websites. Some of these are nefarious. Most of it's just random trash that no one cares about. Like, the way I explain it to people about the dark web is, if you're it's a portion of the internet that is not indexed by most search engines. You know what you find in the dark web? You find GIFs of like 1990s Macho Man Randy Savage doing a dance or something. Remember those old websites? Now, because these media outlets want to be like the dark web, ooh, a nefarious black market, they lump it all together. In reality, people have private sites that are not indexed that you can access through certain browsers if you want to find some stuff. Let's see what we got. Yeah. Cats of Site said that while material from old hacks does appear on the dark web occasionally, we have not yet found any rock-solid proof of that for this specific case, in which case, we don't know where this stuff came from. And they're saying it wasn't hacked. They're from old breaches. And it looks like we have this confirmed. And I really do, I do trust Steve. Shout out Steve. So if that's the case, then I don't think it was I don't think it was hacked, and it very likely did come then from a black market site or something like that, unless it was the people from the previous breaches who had them and compiled them, which I don't know, I guess it's possible. So that's the gist of it, I guess. They say among the most prominent Telegram venues to share the information was a Nazi channel. I don't care. Look, man, lots of people are sharing the information. And it's gonna go up on tons of different sites. You can't just single out, one group and be like, oh, look who it is, because they're trying to discredit what's actually going on. I'll tell you what. There's going to be some anti-establishment types. They're going to latch onto it. We'll see how it plays out. We'll see if any information comes of this. But for the time being, let me tell you, it seems that the passwords and names are legit. Whether that proves the information coming out is or isn't irrelevant. It just means that we may actually see some breaches. They'll have to be confirmed, and then we'll go from there. I'll stick to the story, and I'll see if I hear anything else, and I'll keep you guys updated. Thanks for hanging out. I will see you all tomorrow at 10 a.m. I'll see you next time.